Welcome back to the video. In today's video, we have Worlds End Results, a crazy show with a few surprises that I did not expect. I don't think you expected either. But yeah, how would you like the show?
Yeah, I mean, from top to bottom, I would say it was a pretty good show. I mean, there were some matches I would say that kind of it didn't maybe meet my expectation, but that's just gonna happen when there's such big expectations. You know what I mean? And it's like one of the last pay-per-views. There's kind of a lot of build to these matches that people really liked and were into and whatnot. But overall, definitely happy. No complaints for me, and yeah, one of their better pay-per-views.
Yeah, 2025 is looking very good for AEW, which obviously is an amazing thing because we want more companies to succeed. Obviously, the more the merrier for us. But yeah, let's get into this card where we start off with the Continental Classic semifinal first match with Will Ospreay taking on Kyle Fletcher. This match was a very, very fun match. Will Ospreay does get the win. How'd you like this match?
Yeah, unfortunately, I kind of missed like the first beginning part of this match due to just some issues with the internet and stuff like that. So we kind of missed a little bit of the first half, but by the time I did start watching, he was busted open, and then I kind of went back and watched, what happened and stuff. But he was busted open real bad. I kind of, while we were watching, I kind of made the comparison that he kind of looked like Eddie Guerrero whenever he kind of bladed a little too hard at whatever pay-per-view it was. I believe it was like versus JBL or something. But yeah, his face kind of looks similar to that, where just like extremely thick blood on there, and yeah, it looked very crazy.
Yeah, Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, for the fact. Two men who I definitely think we were both going to be seeing in our award shows. But yeah, two guys who had a phenomenal year. Great match here. The chemistry between the two is off the charts. Obviously, two guys who are best friends, I'm assuming, off TV and stuff like that. But yeah, just phenomenal match. Will Ospreay getting the win. So he'll be moving on. And I'm going to have a second match later on in the night. But let's move on to the other match where we had Okada take on Ricochet, and Okada does come out on top. And another pretty solid match. Not as good as the Will Ospreay match, but still very good.
Yeah, my predictions were basically all wrong for the entire thing for this Continental Classic. And it doesn't change any time on this pay-per-view. They were all wrong. But yeah, Okada does defeat Ricochet. It was a pretty good match. I kind of do these long outros to matches, so they kind of make you think, oh, is something gonna happen? Or is Bobby gonna attack or some of the sort? But nothing ends up happening. But it was a pretty clean match. No real complaints here. Probably one of the better Ricochet matches so far.
Yeah, this match is pretty solid. But also at the end of the match, after Ricochet does take the L, he's in the ring, and then out comes Swerve Strickland, and he says he wants to wish Ricochet a happy new year, and he hands out, or him and Prince Nana hand out toilet paper rolls to everybody in the front row. They throw the toilet paper at Ricochet, kind of in a very humiliating way. So hopefully Ricochet can get some payback on him, because it kind of sucked for him to get kind of schooled like this, and yeah, just would look really bad for him, I think.
Yeah.
But next up, we had a Tijuana street fight match where Mariah May does come out on top, beating Thunder Rosa, and what was a pretty good match.
Yeah, this was a really good match. I really enjoyed this one. Thunder Rosa, this is obviously more her style match, so she kind of had the, I guess, advantage, you could say. But she doesn't come out on top, unfortunately. Mariah May does retain her title. But it was a really good spot. Some unexpected things. She comes out with this piñata, and you kind of think nothing of it too much, And then at some point when she has Mariah May down, she goes to it and busts it open, and all the thumbtacks come falling out of it. And it got a real big pop from everybody, including myself. And yeah, that was kind of the spot of the match there. She goes to do like a DDT or something on Mariah May on the tacks, and then Mariah May kind of reverses out of it and does a pile driver. Yeah. Does like a pile driver to her on it, and she has these tacks in her head and her back and her ass, just literally everywhere. All over her, just backside of her body is all just covered in tacks. And yeah, that was just probably the spot of the match right there that kind of called it for Mariah May, besides what I'll let you get into how the match ended. But yeah,
this match was pretty crazy. Yeah, Miss Mariah May just hits, she kind of gets her onto the outside, gets her in pile driver position, hits her on the table, which almost, I got really scared for Thunder Rosa, because it looked like maybe her head hit before, and she went after that. She didn't really move too much, so I was a little bit scared, but as of right now, nothing's came out, so hopefully Thunder Rosa's okay. But yeah, that spot at the end was definitely a crazy spot, and yeah, I'm glad that the women got a decent amount of time. Wish they got even a bit more, but yeah, they delivered. No real boring spot in the match. They kind of just kept on going and going. But yeah, really good match. Next up, though, we had the AEW Dynamite Diamond Ring on the line, where MJF goes against Adam Cole, and he does retain his Diamond Ring. How'd you like this match?
Probably my least favorite match of the night. However, it was still pretty good. Nothing amazing, but it was a decent match nonetheless. Everyone was kind of expecting a Undisputed Kingdom turn at the end. They did another one of those long outros that I mentioned earlier, but it was just kind of just all the rules and they all came together. Kyle O'Reilly seems to be back into the fold a little bit, at least for now. But yeah, it was a decent match, but probably my least favorite of the night.
Yeah, this match, unfortunately, I think I'm just kind of tired of MJF, Adam Cole. I want to see something new for both men. But yeah, this match was solid. Nothing too bad in it. I did kind of like the reunion of Undisputed Era now in Undisputed Kingdom, minus Bobby Fish, obviously. But yeah, pretty cool. Don't know really where you go with MJF here. Obviously, he wins this, so hopefully this is the end between these two, at least for quite a while. But yeah, hopefully we see some big things coming from Adam Cole and MJF in 2025. Next up, though, we had the AEW International Championship on the line, where Konosuke Takeshita beats Powerhouse Hobbs. How'd you like this match?
Yeah, this match was pretty much what I expected it to be. It was just a really good match in general. Powerhouse Hobbs finally back in a notable position on a AEW card, so that's very nice to see. Really missed him just in general, and he performed this and it was really good. Nothing, I wouldn't say it's like one of the best matches or anything like that, but it's definitely a really good one. Takeshita's kind of showing off his power with still being able to do the moves that he does on a guy the size of Powerhouse Hobbs. But yeah, just I guess the story that it told for me is just showing off Takeshita's strength and what he could do even with a guy the size of Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, definitely. Takeshita, just one of those guys that you probably at first glance may not seem like, oh, he's that strong. By the end of the day, that man can toss around almost any person on this roster, and just looks like $1 million. One of the best guys this year. Had a great year, I think. But yeah, this was a pretty solid match. There were a few hiccups in this match where they did slip up, and we got a funny chance of "please be careful" chance throughout the crowd, which is nice. That's another thing I mentioned. The crowd throughout this entire night was pretty good. They didn't really kind of get quiet at any match, really, just consistently on their feet and kind of being loud all night. But yeah, this match pretty good. Like you said, glad Hobbs got on the card, and hopefully we see more from him in these next few months. But yeah, pretty good match. Next up, we had the TBS Championship on the line, where Mercedes Moné beats Chris Statlander in their rematch. How'd you like this match?
Yeah, this was a rematch of their first match, whatever the previous pay-per-view is. Full Gear. But yeah, it was a rematch of that. I would still say the first one was a tad bit better, but this one had the more crazy spots in it. Mercedes just looked like $1 million in this one. Same with Chris Statlander too, honestly. They kind of just told the same story of Mercedes being that little bit faster, a little more experienced, versus Chris Statlander being that little bit more powerful. And I think their last match was the longest AEW match of all time, women's match of all time, and I think this one is probably surpassed that one because this one ended at 24 minutes. So this is probably the longest women's match of all time, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it was a pretty good match. I think the first one was better, but definitely didn't disappoint me.
Yeah, I mean, Mercedes Moné, I think she may have heard some of the criticism online, and she said, all right, I'm going to go on a streak of a few bangers. But yeah, she's killed in this match. Obviously, Chris as well. But yeah, Mercedes just works so well with a more stronger, more built woman, and then every match she has with those, that style of woman, it's always phenomenal. But yeah, hopefully we can see Chris kind of get back on the up. Maybe she switches over to the world champion in 2025. But yeah, Mercedes Moné goes into 2025 still your TBS champion.
Yeah, there was a lot of baits in this match where they were like, oh, is Chris going to win? But they never really pulled the trigger on it in this match. But yeah, that's pretty much how the match went. Just Mercedes just being a little bit too fast, a little bit too experienced for the younger Chris Statlander.
Yeah. And then next up, we had the Continental Classic Finals where Kazuchika Okada defeats Will Ospreay, making it 9-2 between the two. And yeah, a phenomenal match. Probably my match of the night, if I had to say. And yeah, really good match. What you think, though?
Yeah, this was an amazing match. It told just an amazing story of just Will Ospreay. Obviously, I mentioned in his first match he got the head injury. He was all bloody and whatnot. And yeah, that was basically used in this match to be like, oh, he's basically not 100%, and you got the best of him this time. But there were really cool moments when Ospreay does a Rainmaker to Okada. That was like a really cool pop moment right there. Okada kind of rips the bandages off at one point and kind of mushes his head with his foot, and that was pretty cool. There's a lot of really good spots. He does the big flip off moment to the crowd, of course. But yeah, just a really good match. Okada retains, and yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, Okada, I kind of like the way that they played into it, where Okada is just the best tournament wrestler, and again, he proves it here, getting his 5th major tournament win. And it was just a nice little moment afterwards where Ospreay, after he kind of gets up after losing the match, kind of acknowledges him like, yeah, you still got my number, you're still better than me. But as Okada's in the ring, he doesn't have his Continental belt yet, out comes Christopher Daniels, and he says, hey, I would award you this belt, but I can't because I'm not a EVP anymore. And then out comes the great Kenny Omega. He returns here at World's End. And yeah, to a huge pop, obviously. I was super hyped for this. Obviously, Kenny is a guy that we haven't seen too much because we only kind of been covering AEW in the past year and a half, basically. But now that hopefully he's coming back in 2025 at the New Japan show, AEW Dynasty, hopefully we start seeing a lot more in 2025. And yeah, we get a kind of a setup for potentially All in Texas between Okada and Omega. Cannot be more excited for that. That's a easy, just amazing match already, no matter how it goes.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it earlier, but I mentioned it as well while we were kind of watching the show. But all the matches I've seen from Kenny Omega, well, majority of the matches I've seen from Kenny Omega were all kind of not live. I never got to see them in the moment. And obviously, it's different when you're watching a match on replay versus in the moment. And you're kind of reacting in real time and everything. And you're on Twitter seeing all the other people talking, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm very excited to see a Kenny Omega kind of restart in AEW, especially with Okada. Like, that's just amazing. Okada hasn't been used the best this year, I'll say. Out of the big signings this year, I feel like he was probably used the least, maybe Mercedes, kind of up in between them two. But yeah, very excited for Kenny Omega. And I was very surprised to see him show up at this spot, considering it wasn't the main event. But we'll get more into that, right now, I guess.
Yeah, and for the main event was obviously the 4-way for the AEW World Champion, where Jon Moxley does come out on top, outlasting Orange Cassidy, Adam Page, and Jay White. This was a pretty solid match. Nothing too crazy as crazy I kind of imagined it was going to be. But yeah, still pretty solid match.
Yeah, like you said, kind of the same thing. There's nothing really crazy happened. Moxley took a nasty spot on the table, kind of busted open the back of his head. That was kind of the worst spot of the match, I would say. But yeah, just kind of, I don't want to say it was kind of like a nothing match. Like, nothing really kind of happened during this match. And it's not that it was bad or anything. Like, it was just a lot of finishers going between everyone. We've seen a ton of orange punches. We've seen a ton of Jay White's finisher.
Switchblade.
Yeah, the Switchblade. But yeah, it was just a kind of a finisher fest for like the later portion of this match. But that to be said, it doesn't matter because who comes out once again?
Yes, so as Jon Moxley's in the ring with the win, he's about to have a chair on Orange Cassidy's neck and kind of ride him off, but out comes FTR. They are making their return, and they kind of stand tall. They start walking down the ring, but they pause, and then rated FTR is official because Edge or Adam Copeland is back in AEW after having a nasty injury at Double or Nothing. He's back here, and they kind of run out Moxley, Wheeler, and Claudio. So yeah, Adam Copeland back in AEW. Again, we kind of mentioned with Kenny, the roster's kind of finally getting more healthy, and now it's even healthier than what it was just a match before.
Yeah, just a crazy night. I mean, we got Kenny Omega and Adam Copeland back in action. They already announced the match for this coming Wednesday, where it's a 6-man tag with the Death Riders versus Rated FTR. I was about to say CMFTR. But yeah, amazing. Like, I love FTR. They're probably my favorite tag team. Well, not even probably. They are my favorite tag team in AEW. And to see Adam Copeland with them, I'm saying it's Edge. If to see Edge with them, it's just amazing. I love to see it. And yeah, I think it's great for everybody. I think it's a perfect fit because they just know each other. They're gonna have a lot of chemistry with each other. And I'm sure Edge and John Moxley have history in the past, and they're pretty familiar with each other and whatnot. So there's a lot of kind of intertwining pieces, and even Claudio has a past. So, there's a lot of kind of things interfering here with each other. He already mentioned that he wants a piece of them, and so basically it's going to be at some point Adam Copeland versus John Moxley, and that's something I'm excited for.
Yeah, and I'm glad he is back because obviously Hangman and Jay White and Orange Cassidy are all real contenders, and I don't want to discredit them at all. However, right now, it kind of don't feel like they were going to win. I think there's a small chance, I think, of each of them winning here tonight. However, with Adam Copeland coming back, I think that is a real contender. Whether he wins or loses, I don't really mind whatever happens, because, I mean, for him to be an AEW World Champion is really cool, similar to, like, the Bryan Danielson kind of story where everybody wants him to win the champion, but will he not? But yeah, I'm really excited for Adam Copeland, John Moxley, and obviously FTR being back. Hopefully, show more prominently. They kind of took this year. I'm not gonna say they took it off by any means because they still had a very solid year. But hopefully in 2025 we get another banger year from FTR because they even said themselves that they won't be around for too much longer. But yeah, really exciting stuff.
Yeah, and also during the whole Edge run, we've seen Christian in the crowd as well with his little contract, briefcase, whatever it is thing. And yeah, so that kind of insinuated that we'll kind of revisit Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage once again, which is something I'm also very excited for. So yeah, just a very exciting show. Everything kind of fell in place. Even the worst match wasn't a bad match. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with the entire card.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal way to end 2024 for AEW, and hopefully for 2025 they can even top this because obviously things are going really well in their favor, and I think 2025 can be a real game-changer year for them. They have a lot of great talent in this roster that they can really show off, and yeah, this should be a really good 2025 for them. But that will do it, and that is our last results for a pay-per-view or PLE this year in 2024. So thank you guys for sticking with us through the entire year. We still have our awards that will be coming out at the end of the year. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, make sure to drop a like and a subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.